There are three ways to update in Portara. The drag and drop method, as explained in the basic concepts video. You can drag a collection of folders or files from the cloud to desktop, and there's also two other ways. There's the auto updates, which you can switch on via a timer, or a manual update, which you can do any time that you need to. Updates are carried out on a per tab basis in the order that the tabs are there, so it's going to look at updating daily, and then 1 minute, and tick trades only, and tick level 1 if you have those tabs. So we're going to focus in just on the daily data and look what's involved in a auto or a manual update from the toggle switches here. Okay, so if we click on the button with the three bars on, it leads to this screen here, and Portara is bright enough to know that it only needs to download any changes since the last update. If it is your initial download, then it's going to download everything that you're entitled to and place that in a download folder on the drive of your choice, or the default drive that it's set up to do that in, which is the C drive. Then the next thing it will do is it will look to see whether any of these auto update buttons are selected. So if you've got the auto unzip selected, you can see where it's changed green here, that means at the end of the download process it's going to say, hey look, the auto unzip on for the daily data is selected, so it's going to then auto unzip all the data in your download folder and place that into the unzip folder for your individual extractions. After that step's complete, it's going to look to see whether the auto continuous button is lit or not. So if we light that up and now it's green, it's going to say, right, okay, the auto continuous data button is lit too, and it will therefore extract the downloaded data for that particular bunch of commodities into its continuous form as well. So in this way, a manual update here still will cycle through the daily, and then it will look here to see what it's entitled to do for that daily data, and then once that's completed it will go to the minute if you've got that minute tab in your data, and it will look at what it can do there, and you get the sort of gist of what it is. It will go to tick trades only and do the same and finish on tick level 1. So in a nutshell, the manual update feature updates all the data in one cycle, cycles through your tabs, and it cycles through whatever it happens to look at here for the statuses on a per tab basis. Just to remind you that the data follows the local navigation paths. So in this case it's set to C drive to download the data, and it goes into these download folders here on your local drive. So you can see daily, intraday, trades and level 1. Now there's no need for you to ever go in there because they are binary encrypted files, and on the second part of the download process, depending on what you've got set, the unzip data for daily, intraday, level 1 and trades is there, and it will also create, if it needs to, a daily continuous folder to put your continuous data in as well. So just depending on what settings you've got set, your data, the output data, will appear in the Portara unzipped collection of folders in the drive that you've got specified in your local navigation. If you do need to change your local drive, then the local navigation is on a per tab basis. So just click into there and you'll see the two paths. There's a download path which you change by just set path and work your way through there and select the folder you need it to go to, and in the same way down here too. So just watch if you've got if you subscribe to tick and to tick level 1, the databases are absolutely huge, so you have to make sure that your hard drive is big enough to be able to encompass all of that. And just set your pathways like this. It's on a per tab basis until you're good to go. Remember though, it is set to C drive out of the box, and as long as your C drive is pretty big, with daily and 1 minute data, it's pretty much standard, it's going to fit on. But you need to think, especially with tick level 1, about what size hard drive is going to be good for you. Some final points to note in updating: if we click on the 3 bars button, in there we can see clear all data. Now this is a very powerful button, so you've got to be careful whether you have this on or not, and it depends on what data granularity type. You need to look into this and make sure you know what you're doing. So clear all data, if it's checked, all the data in the commodity will be cleared regardless of the start and end date. If it's not checked, only the data between the start and end date will be cleared. So this means that you can pull data incrementally without deleting the data you've already grabbed. Now, when it's daily in 1 minute, it's probably best to have that checked, to be honest with you, because then it will just recreate the data, and it's so fast for daily and 1 minute data, there's probably no issues there. If you are using tick trades only or tick level 1, then my preference is to leave it checked. But you might say, well look, I want to pull tick level 1 in batches, so you'd have to think about having it not clear the data that you've already downloaded. So think about that carefully before you start engaging with that. The unzipped, modified and new data only it's great. If you check it, what that will do is it will only unzip any new data that's come down. So if you just spent an hour unzipping data, then the next time the download comes in, it will only unzip anything that's been modified. So it's not going to re-unzip everything again for you and spend ages. It's only going to unzip the deltas in the same way that the download will only download new data. So it's a pretty cool feature to have that there. If you don't do that and you then uncheck that, you can use the start and end dates there to unzip. And notice the end date's got a little lockbox there to lock it out to, in this case, January 2050. It's just because crude oil and some contracts like crude trade way out there, and in order to grab those in individual form, you need this set out to quite a way, so be aware of that too. Notice in the same way that the lockbox in the continuous extractions needs to be unchecked for most cases, because it never goes beyond the current date anyway. So you also have the ability to have a start and end date on continuous extractions in case you don't want to pull the full continuous data and you want to start it later on in the stream. You can do that here. So we've covered manual updates from here, and we've also covered the drag and drop functionality with updates from here. Finally, it's just the auto updates, and you engage this by just clicking auto updates and it will go green, and it's now watching for updates. Now the thing which is pretty cool about Portara is even if you leave this for weeks or months on end, it's just going to grab the data that it needs from the last update. There's no imperative to update every single day. So the question begs itself is, do you actually need auto updates switched on at all? And the reason I say that is because a lot of funds and quants like data static for a number of weeks so they can go testing upon it. But if you're in a trading situation and you need the data every day, then you would put auto updates on. If auto updates hasn't come in for some reason, I don't know what that reason would be, you can then just simply go to manual updates there and it will just pull in the data and bring you up to date. So again, have a think about whether you need auto updates or not. Again, it will update every time it sees that there's new data available from the servers. If not, you can come in at any time if you need to keep your data static for testing purposes, and you can come in and manually update your data. Okay, thank you.